from Paris. Oui, oui. Hello and welcome. I moved to Paris. Moving to a new city is always super exciting, and as a literature student, of course I had to bring books with me. It was a very difficult decision choosing which books to bring with me in the limited amount of space I had. I thought it would be cool if I were to show you all the books that I managed to bring overseas with me. My carry-on, one half of it was just filled with books. I didn't want to take the risk of putting it in my suitcase and having it be overweight. But before I show you the books I brought with me and tell you a little bit about them, I want to show you my book holders. I think that's what they're called. Bookends. I think that's what they're called, not book holders. Yeah, I want to show you my bookends because I'm so excited about them. I've never had one of these. Always wanted it. This one specifically, it's so cute. I got it for Christmas as a gift and I cried when I opened it. It's Sesame Street. Isn't this the cutest thing you've ever seen? It's so cute. I love it so much. Starting with the books that I managed to smuggle. This is my stack. I'm gonna start with books that I brought because I'm still working on my thesis. Actually, finished the first draft, but I had to have the books that the thesis is about with me just in case I need to double check something. We have The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, an absolute classic that I force everyone in my life to read. Guys, I have to show you. There are pages in this book that have been underlined so many times that there's more highlight and underline than there is text. I've read this book multiple times. I read it the first time when I was 18. Every single time I read it, I feel like I relate to it in a different way. If you don't know, it's the story of Esther, who had an internship in New York and then she had to come back home and goes through a mental crisis and has to be hospitalized in a mental institution. I don't know if I should talk about my thesis. I feel weird talking about it. This is the first book. The first chapter of my thesis is focused on The Bell Jar. The second chapter of my thesis is focused on Girl Interrupted, which is a memoir. And if you know anything about me, you know that I very much dislike memoirs with a burning passion. Like, I'm not a memoir person. Most times when I read it, I just don't like it. This one is the biggest exception because the writing is so beautiful. There are some harsh realities and it's very blunt, but in a good way, in a catching your attention type of way. This is about Susanna, the author. She ends up at a mental institution being told she's gonna stay there for 2 weeks, and it turns into about 2 years. So she's giving her observation of her time in that institution. The chapters are really short, which makes it so easy to read. You can't put it down, like you just want to read till the end. And the third chapter of my thesis is focused on no other than Ottessa Moshfegh, my year of rest and relaxation. Guys, I have to tell you something. In the recent years, Jacques-Louis David has become one of my favorite artists. I really like his paintings. There's just something in the portraits he draws. And one painting that I absolutely wanted to see in person is this one. I actually have a postcard of it. I saw it in the Louvre and I know it's a replica. It's not the original. The original is in Belgium, I think. I just stood there looking at this painting for I think 15 minutes. It's so beautiful. It's one of my favorite paintings of all time. This is another one of his paintings on the cover of this book. And as I was walking out the museum, I walked into this room by accident and there was another one of his paintings. It looks very similar to this one. Anyway, this book is about the unnamed narrator. I don't know why I just pointed at her. It's not about her. It's about an unnamed narrator who decides to take really strong medication and just sleep for a year. Basically, she locks herself in her apartment and just sleeps for a year, and she thinks doing that will cure her from her depression. I don't know. I'm not going to diagnose her. This is a very special book to me. I've read it again so many times and I started rereading it recently just for fun. I just just love this book. It's very humorous. All three of these books have a really good sense of humor. If you don't share a similar sense of humor, you're not gonna like them. You're actually gonna hate them. That's why a lot of times some people would not necessarily like these books and other people would absolutely love them. Reading this book definitely changed my style in art, in closing, and in literature, which is very weird to say about an unnamed character that I don't even know what she looks like, but I feel like after reading this book I've made certain choices in the clothes that I wear. Thinking back about it, I took the idea from this book. So it's a very impactful novel if you end up actually liking it. So these are the 3 books I brought with me for my thesis. The rest are books that I want to read while I'm in Paris. Starting with the book that I'm currently reading, it's this pocketbook of Dostoevsky's Notes from the Underground and White Nights. This is my first time reading Dostoevsky. The writing is definitely a bit difficult, but yet enjoyable. It really feels like a punch in your gut. That's the impression I'm getting so far from Notes from Underground, and just the things he's telling about humanity, about how we are so selfish and how we always want the best thing for ourselves, and what's morality and what's passion and what pushes us in the world. All these things he talks about are so realistic and you really feel it. That makes it really enjoyable. It's not really a book that I can just pick up and read. I need to actually sit down and focus on every single line I'm reading. So after finishing Notes from the Underground, I'm gonna read White Night. That's what I'm really excited about. I've heard a lot of good things about it, about like 2 people who project their ideals into each other. And then there are some excerpts from his other works. Maybe I'll read those too. So far I'm really enjoying this. And speaking of Dostoevsky, I also did bring Crime and Punishment with me. I started it in July last year and I read a bit and it was so good and I just fell off. I'm gonna be honest. I told myself I'm gonna keep reading it, I'm gonna finish it by the end of the year, and it didn't happen. So I'm gonna restart it. I feel like it deserves time and energy. Well, I mean, I guess I'll show you this one. It's Lolita. I've read it halfway again and I never finished it. I'm locking in and I'm finishing this book. I'm quite excited to read more of Nabokov. I think he's one of the most brilliant writers I've ever came across in my life. His other works are equally as good, but they don't get enough attention. If you don't know about this book, maybe this is not the best introduction. This is the story of Humbert Humbert telling how he became obsessed with a child and he calls her Lolita instead of calling her with her real name. It's actually a very disgusting book to read. You immediately hate Humbert Humbert from the first page. Actually, I read My Dark Vanessa last year. I got it from the library because I heard a lot about it and I read it, and it's kind of like a take on Lolita. Similar story but told from the perspective of the girl rather than the older guy, and I hated that book. That book was genuinely one of the worst books I've ever read. The story was told so poorly. One of the reasons I hated it was because of how wrongly it interpreted Lolita. Lolita was never meant to be a love story. It was just showing you the disgusting realities of the world. Like, that was the point Nabokov was trying to make, of like how easily little children can get manipulated and how you should actually be more cautious as an adult and as a parent and as a teacher. To see that someone took that and turned it like completely the wrong way. The writing wasn't good. The story wasn't good. It was too long. Nothing was happening that was interesting. I just don't recommend that book. There are much better books out there. Anyway, I will commit to this book. If I don't, you can hold me accountable. Let's continue with English books and then I'll show you the French ones. A Moveable Feast. A Moveable Feast takes place in Paris. I got this book a while ago. I wanted to read it while being in Paris. Once I knew I was moving here, I put this book in my suitcase first. I was like, I need to bring this book with me and I need to read it while I'm living in Paris. I don't know what it's about. about, but I know that it says if you're lucky enough to have lived in Paris as a young man, then wherever you go for the rest of your life, it stays with you, for Paris is a movable feast. I'm quite excited to read it. It would not be fair to bring all these books and not bring one of my all-time favorite novels that also takes place in Paris. That is no other than Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. Paris in the 50s. It's an American guy who comes here and he meets Giovanni, who's Italian. Their story, but also Giovanni's story. Who is Giovanni and how did he get to be where he is? The pains and hardship that he went through. James Baldwin is one of my all-time favorite writers. The way he speaks about humans and human experience and what it means to be a human, it's something that no one can ever replicate, and it hurts you, but it also fills you with joy knowing that these are all the emotions that you can feel. Reading a slim little book, it talks about so many different themes, desire, morality. I just love it so much. So it's very special to me that I can reread it while being in the city it's set in. I think there's something very special about that. If there's a street mentioned here, I could just go there, and I think that's really cool. Moving to the French books, we have L'étranger by Camus. Again, a book I don't know much about. I've never read Camus before, but I thought if there's an appropriate time for me to be reading this, it is right now. This is also a very tiny little book. I do not think it should take me a long time reading it. I'm super excited to get into it, get existential. Who knows what's gonna come out once I finish this. And then I talked about this book before, I think. It's called Le Magasin de Suicide. I wanted to read this last year, didn't get the chance. This is about people who want to die, and there's a store, a family store that will help them, like provide the material for them. That's what I understood from the back. And the other day I found out there's a movie. It's animated, but I'm excited to read it and then watch the movie. Again, very skinny, very small. Her name is Bella Hadid. I have 2 more books. This one was a gift before I come. My friend Ale gave it to me. The original language it was written in is Spanish, but Ale got me the translation to French. And hopefully one day I will be able to read it in the original language. Not with Duolingo lessons. Hopefully I will actually take real proper Spanish lessons. La Maison aux Esprits by Isabel Allende. I don't know if that's how you say it in Spanish. It's translated from Spanish by Claude et Carmen Durand. Basically, from what Ale told me, it's about a family in Chile, and it talks about the domestic life, about family trees, and about love for family. She was talking to me about it. I told her it sounds really, really interesting and I would love to read it. She got me a copy. I think it will be my first time reading any books from Chile. And then finally, we have a book in Farsi. I am trying to like read more in Farsi. It's crazy how easily you lose a language if you don't practice it, even if you are really, really comfortable with the language. When I text my mom, so many mistakes in my text. But this is by my favorite author, Sadegh Hedayat, and this one is called The Blind Owl. Well, it's in Farsi. It's a story about grief, and it's really sad, super, super existential. It's basically divided in 2 halves. That concludes the haul. Not a haul. This was not a haul. This was just me showing you the books I brought with me. My goal is to not purchase any books before reading all of these. I'm only human. Don't come for me if 2 weeks later I'm gonna post book haul. I would definitely love to go to a bunch of bookstores around here. I'm also gonna be traveling around. I love buying books from different cities I go to. It's just a little memory to have with me and always remember that city. And since I am in Europe right now, we get the UK version of the books, and so many books I want have way, way prettier covers as the UK version. That's my justification. But for now, I'm really trying to not buy any books before I read these ones. Thank you so much for watching this video. Talk to you guys soon. Hope you have a great day. Bye.